I'm Dr. Kalyani, working as a glaucoma specialist at HV Desai Eye Hospital, Pune. Today my topic is lasers in glaucoma.
Dr. Kalyani is a senior glaucoma specialist with more than 20 years of clinical experience. She is also a principal of College of Optometry at HV Desai Eye Hospital. She has presented several papers in numerous national and international conferences and has several publications to her credit.
Lasers means laser amplification by stimulated emission of radiation. The lasers will cause different tissue interactions by thermal effect, ionizing effect, and photochemical effect, and gives the needed reactions. Lasers are applied in two means in glaucoma. One is diagnostic and the second is therapeutic. Diagnostics are used in HRT, GDX and OCT. Therapeutics are used in laser iridotomy, selective laser trabeculoplasty, suturolysis, cytophotocoagulation, iridoplasty, sclerostomy, membranectomy, pupilloplasty, treatment of ciliary process on aqueous misdirection, anterior hyaloidotomy, ag synechotomy, ag goniopuncture after non-penetrating glaucoma surgery. Coming to the laser iridotomy, it is the most common procedure which is done in glaucoma. Here, there is accumulation of the aqueous behind the iris because of the pupillary block, further shallows the AC and causes the narrowing of the angles. So to prevent that pupillary block, we need to make a passage in the iris called laser iridotomy. The indications for laser iridotomy are acute angle closure glaucoma, chronic angle closure glaucoma, angle closure suspect with PAS, aphakic or pseudophakic pupillary block, malignant glaucoma, prophylactic PI, partial thickness surgical iridotomy. When it is not completed, then by laser we can complete. Pigment dispersion syndrome, nanophthalmus, and spirophakia. Laser iridotomy is contraindicated when there is corneal edema, corneal opacity, or flat AC. Coming to the procedure of laser iridotomy, we need to counsel the patient and take the consent of the patient before the procedure. And to reduce the thickness of the iris and to unfold the iris, we need to put 2% of pilocarpine or 4%. Pre-laser IOP should be controlled so that the cornea will be clear and the IOP spike will be controlled or prevented. For that, we need to give oral estrogelamide and topical apraclonidine 1% eye drops 1 hour prior to the laser procedure. For the laser procedure, we can use Abraham lens or the Weiss lens. The advantages of the lens usage are it stabilizes the eye and prevents the eye movements and smoothens the cornea surface and reduces the damage to the cornea. And also it provides a magnified view and it increases the power density of the laser spots. The laser parameters are power 1 to 6 millijoules, spot size will be 50 to 70, pulse per burst will be 1 to 3. Here the focus of the laser beam should be in the stroma rather than on the surface so that laser will be utilized better. The complications of the laser iridotomy, during the laser procedure, there may be the chance of microhemorrhage. So when we press the lens, then we can prevent the hemorrhage. Wait for some time. If it is controlled, then you can continue with the laser, or otherwise you can wait for an hour or so. Then we can redone the laser procedure. Then there may be the temporary blurring of the vision or the corneal burns. There will be increased IOP and late closure of the iridotomy. There can be endothelial damage or lens damage, retinal damage. It causes CME and sterile hypopyon due to the iritis. In the later stages, there can be the chance of malignant glaucoma due to the laser iridotomy. So to prevent the complications, we need to check the IOP 1 to 6 hours and 24 hours, then 1 month, 3 months and 6 months. And to prevent the spikes, oral estrogelamide and alpha agonists, and to prevent the inflammation, topical corticosteroids with a non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agents.
Here's something not often captured on video, a peripheral laser iridotomy. So this is an eye with occludable angles. I'm placing a lens onto the surface of the eye. And if you look here closely, you can see 2 red dots. These are the laser guiding spots for this YAG laser. And the key is to find a crypt in the iris, a place that it's already kind of thin. That way you won't have to blast quite as deep. So this looks like a good spot. There's one shot. And the key is you look for a flow of fluid. That's another shot. You can kind of see it flowing out. All right, things are definitely starting to come out now. And finally, you can see this gush of pigment and fluid coming from behind the iris forward into the anterior chamber, which shows you have a good penetration. And I like to widen this out a little bit more, just because these things can reocclude. But this is a pretty good fluid wave. You can see it coming down.
Coming to the laser trabeculoplasty, the indications for laser trabeculoplasty are open angle glaucoma, pseudoexfoliative glaucoma, pigmentary glaucoma, failed medical therapy to control the IOP, or when surgery is contraindicated, when we can opt laser trabeculoplasty to control the IOP, and when the poor compliance of the patient, the IOP is not controlled as the irregular usage of the medication, then we can take advantage of the laser trabeculoplasty. The contraindications for laser trabeculoplasty are total angle closure glaucoma, hazy media, inflammatory and congenital glaucomas. The mechanism of action of ALT and SLT. These 2 lasers can be utilized for the laser trabeculoplasty. ALT, that is argon laser trabeculoplasty, it causes its effects by shrinkage of the inner trabecular ring, then opening the aqueous drainage channels, thereby increases the outflow. The reaction is thermal reaction. Whereas in SLT, it causes the outflow increase by biological effect. There is a proliferation of cells, then secretion of cytokinins, inflammatory reaction, thereby causing the phagocytosis, increases the outflow. So it is the normal process, whereas in ALT, there is the thermal damage to the tissues. These are the various parameters what we use in SLT and ALT. The spot size is 400 and ALT it is 50, and energy used is less than 1% of ALT in SLT, but energy is 500 in ALT. There is no thermal effect or damage in SLT. There is the thermal damage in ALT. So here the procedure of the SLT is, the laser burns are placed between the anterior and posterior trabecular meshwork, and at the same time we can use 180 degrees to 360 degrees. How we know that there is the optimal reaction is by transient blanching or the small gas bubble formation. Then we can fix the laser and continue to do the laser 180 degrees to 360 degrees. Some of the complications we encounter during a laser trabeculoplasty are transient decrease in the vision due to gonioscopy contact fluid, or sometimes because of the inflammation, or significant IOP elevation, and transient iritis can cause reduction of the vision due to laser trabeculoplasty. So to prevent those, the post-operative management is, we have to check the IOP 1 to 6 hours after the laser and give oral estrogelamide or alpha-2 agonist to prevent the IOP spikes, And we can give topical corticosteroids along with the non-steroidal anti-inflammatory agents. The advantages of SLT over the ALT are it utilizes the selective photothermolysis to target the specific pigmented cells, leaving the trabecular meshwork intact, and stimulates the body natural mechanism to enhance the aqueous outflow. It is simple and fast, and it is an outpatient procedure. It can be repeatable, and it never causes any burning or scarring of the trabecular meshwork, and it is non-limiting treatment. After this treatment also, we can do other procedures like surgery and other lasers. The preparation is to prevent the post-op IOP spikes. We need to give topical apraclondin 1% drops and put the topical anesthetic drops and set the parameters as mentioned. And we use rich trabeculoplasty lens for this laser. This is the procedure of laser trabeculoplasty. As we see in the picture, we need to focus the beam in between the pigmentary and non-pigmentary trabecular meshwork and see for the reaction. The reaction can be either by blanching or by the air bubble formation. Coming to laser iridoplasty, this can be used to widen the angle and to approach by shrinking the peripheral iris by using the thermal effects. The indications for the laser iridoplasty are plateau iris syndrome, angle closure glaucoma in nanophthalmus, and widening of the angles before performing ALT and SLT. Acute attack of angle closure glaucoma, which is not responding to medicines, we can do the initial iridoplasty, create the space, and after that we can perform AG laser iridotomy. The other indications for this procedure are severe corneal edema, flat AC, and synechial angle closure. The lenses used for laser iridoplasty are Abraham lens and Goldman type of lens aiming through the central part, not from the mirror. The laser parameters are as follows. Here we use argon laser for this iridoplasty. The complications of iridoplasty are iritis, corneal endothelial burns, transient IOP rays, formation of posterior synechiae, and permanent pupillary dilatation. This is the procedure of argon laser iridoplasty.
This is a video of an argon laser iridoplasty. In our current view, the limbus is at the bottom of the screen and the pupil at the top. When the argon laser spot is applied, we can see contraction of the surrounding iris tissue. Notice the even spacing between the non-contiguous laser applications.
The next laser is argon laser suturolysis. The indications for argon laser suturolysis are releasing the tight sutures after trabeculectomy to lower the IOP further down. When the trabeculectomy sutures are tight, there may be raised IOP, and to titrate the IOP, we need to do this argon laser suturolysis. The prerequisites are, after 3 days to 3 weeks of the surgery, we can do the laser suturolysis. And we have to lyse one suture at a time. In cases where when we use mitomycin C or any other anti-metabolite, the laser suturolysis, it is better to postpone for 1 week to 10 days. These are the various laser parameters. We use the Blumenthal lens or Hoskins lens for the laser suturolysis. The complications of this procedure are conjunctival perforation, overfiltration of the blood, and the flat anterior chamber. Coming to the cyclophotocoagulation, this is the procedure where we ablate the ciliary body, thereby reducing the IOP. This can be transscleral or transpupillary. The transscleral will be contact or non-contact. Contact procedure, we use the fibro-optic handheld probe and place on the conjunctiva. Non-contact, transmitted through the air from the slit lamp delivery system. The indications for cyclophotocoagulation are when the filtering surgery has failed or not feasible. In case of aphakic or post-keratoplastic glaucoma, neovascular glaucoma, uveitic glaucoma with a progressive optic nerve damage where surgeries are contraindicated. And in case of intractable pediatric glaucoma, or it can be an alternative method to drainage devices. For this laser, we use semiconductor diode laser, the delivery with a fibro-optic probe. The parameters are as follows, and here it destroys the ciliary body tissues, thereby lowering the IOP. The procedure is each quadrant 18 to 20 burns, sparing 3 and 9 o'clock. And power is reduced if the audible pops are heard, then stabilize the laser what we need. With this procedure, the advantage is we can retreat the patient. But here, as it is the painful procedure, we need to give peribulbar anesthesia. The complications of this procedure are moderate to severe iritis, IOP spike, severe pain, and sometimes loss of vision. If the laser is excessively used, there may be the chances of hypertony and phthisis bulbi. This is the procedure of transscleral cyclophotocoagulation. Prior to the laser, retrobulbar block can be given. The lid speculum is used for the better exposure. And listen for the pop sound. Other cyclophotocoagulation is endoscopic cyclophotocoagulation. The advantages of this is it is direct view visualization of the ciliary body so that we can ablate directly the ciliary body so that it can give the maximum reaction. Disadvantages are invasive, entry either cornea or pars plana, and the complications are CME, fibrin reaction, formation of exudates, and hyphema.
ECP can proceed uneventfully in this situation. Notice that there is some anterior retraction of these ciliary processes, undoubtedly due to the trauma and the eye's response to them.
Recent advances in laser therapy, the micropulse laser therapy. It is a continuous wave laser beam is delivered into a short repetitive low energy pulses separated by a brief rest period which allows the tissue to cool between the laser pulse. And it is a tissue sparing, it causes less damage, and it is repeatable and efficacy is better. It is very much safe in seeing eyes. It can be an alternative method in various intractable glaucomas. The videos and the images we have used in this presentation are courtesy from YouTube and Sheets textbook of glaucoma and Google images. Thank you.